The drop bear, one of Australia's most famous and playfully terrifying pieces of cryptid folklore, has evolved into a cultural icon that blends humour, myth, biology, tourism psychology, and a uniquely Australian sense of mischief. And understanding it requires exploring not only the creature's supposed physical traits, but also its origins, influence, symbolic meaning, and the role it plays in national storytelling. According to the legend, a drop bear is described as a large, carnivorous, highly aggressive cousin of the koala, possessing exaggerated physical features such as oversized claws, unusually powerful jaws, dense muscular limbs, and a thick fur coat that allows it to camouflage seamlessly among the eucalyptus branches where it waits, completely silent, for an unsuspecting victim to pass beneath the tree, which is when, as the story claims, the creature drops from above with impressive force, ambushing the target, much like a big cat pouncing from a cliff. Though the entire concept is delivered with such deadpan seriousness by Australians that tourists, especially those unfamiliar with the country's tradition of dry humour, often accept the myth without hesitation. The narrative of the drop bear exists in an interesting psychological zone where it is obviously fictional, yet told with just enough biological plausibility that even skeptical listeners hesitate, wondering if perhaps Australia's notoriously dangerous wildlife really might include some predatory marsupial that the rest of the world simply hasn't heard about. And this is precisely the magic of the drop bear. It thrives on the interplay between fear, fascination, and the global stereotype that everything in Australia is trying to kill you. A stereotype Australians enjoy exaggerating for comedic effect. The origin of the drop bear myth is thought to be rooted in a long tradition of bush humour, where early settlers, rangers and outdoorsmen often invented fantastical creatures to startle newcomers and children, weaving stories that turned the harsh, vast and unfamiliar Australian landscape into a place of wonder and caution, and the drop bear fit perfectly into this narrative landscape, eventually becoming one of the most recognizable mythical creatures in the country. Over time, the legend spread through oral storytelling, tourism interactions, newspapers, campfire jokes, and finally the internet, where it achieved a new level of virality as memes, satirical articles, and prank-style informational pages, some even created by official-looking organizations, fueled the myth's global recognition. In many descriptions, drop bears are said to target tourists more than locals, a humorous nod to the idea that the creatures can supposedly smell foreign blood, a phrase Australians often drop casually in conversation to amplify the tension, and the tactics for avoiding drop bear attacks are equally ridiculous, with suggested protective methods ranging from spreading Vegemite behind the ears, speaking in an Australian accent, avoiding bright colours, staying away from the shade of trees at dusk, and even holding a fork above one's head, none of which makes any biological sense, but all of which enhances the comedic absurdity. The physical description of the drop bear varies, but most accounts say they are much larger than koalas, often weighing between 40 and 70 pounds, capable of moving quickly with surprising stealth, possessing strong forearms to cling to branches before launching themselves downward, and having a bite strength comparable to a wild dog, though of course all of this is entirely fictional and functions purely within the realm of playful exaggeration. Some versions of the myth describe drop bears as nocturnal hunters with reflective eyes that glow faintly in the moonlight, while others claim they have a venomous bite, or that they communicate using deep growling noises that mimic the wind rushing through eucalyptus leaves, creating an eerie sensation for hikers walking alone at dusk. Despite being a joke, the drop bear has become a culturally significant symbol representing the distinctively Australian blending of danger and humour, a testament to the national identity built around rugged landscapes, unpredictable wildlife, and a refusal to take oneself too seriously. The myth is shared almost like a rite of passage, with seasoned locals encouraging newcomers to check the branches above them before walking through the bush, creating communal laughter when the person actually obeys out of caution. The official-sounding explanations that Australians have created, such as Latin names like Thylactos plumatus, help sustain the illusion of scientific legitimacy, and some spoof websites even include fabricated ecological data such as habitat ranges, breeding patterns, and preferred diets, claiming drop bears feed primarily on birds, small mammals, and the occasional human scalp, which only deepens the comedic contrast between the drop bear and its